Howdy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. So is it just you and I get to make all the decisions for the team today?
Yeah, we're going to delegate it all to them.
Hell yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. First rule about this thing, showing up.
I know Laura sent an email and said she was going to be about 15 minutes late, but
Yeah, I saw that too. Oh no, then she sent another one. She's not gonna be able to make it at all.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, a couple minutes later, so she
Oh,
got pulled into something.
gotcha. Cool.
And
I just saw that.
kind of squatting on a room right now, making sure. Okay, cool. Making sure nobody's actually got this thing booked.
Like minor detail.
Yeah. All
Did you get your haircut?
A little while ago, yeah.
Oh, maybe I just haven't seen you.
It's been a bit. Yeah, I don't know. It also does weirder things. It's starting to get really humid in the Twin Cities.
It's been 100% humidity for 3 weeks. I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah, it's been.
See the ponytail?
Yeah. No, it's been, I think, 6 days with temperatures in the 90s here, which is unheard of for me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so everybody's been.
Hello,
dying.
summer.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't get a spring this year.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey, y'all.
We were hoping that it would just be Doug and I, and then we could just delegate the whole project to you guys and be done.
Yeah.
You know?
We can still do that to Laura and Garrett.
Yep.
True. Where are you?
We were working on renovating our showroom, so I've been doing all sorts of fun stuff like putting in flooring.
Ooh.
And new rack systems.
Nice.
Oh, right on.
So that's it's been occupying a lot of my free time.
Yeah. Have you guys decided on when you're moving and all that?
Yeah, I need to send over the contracts for the moving company. So we're going to move at the end of June, the 29th. But it looks like we've got a place to stay and all that's working out. And yeah, it's coming along.
Good. I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, it's not the optimal time of year for sure.
Right. So the OCD in me just put together a little timeline for us.
Oh.
At literally high level, I just took a spin around the building just to get out from the chair or whatever, and I was thinking about it. And so there's a couple of different ways I in my mind laid it out. So we have, including this week and including the week directly prior, we have 8 weeks until we present, essentially, a little less than 8 weeks. And so let me just share. Hey, Garrett.
Hi.
You guys see?
Oh, look at that.
Okay, over here.
I've never seen this function before in action.
Yeah. So again, super high level, nothing, whatever, but I was thinking, so this week, so we've broken it out into 3 main sections, right? And then within that, we'll probably have an introduction and a closing, right? And so I was thinking, since there were 5 of us, that we would each take a section and we would bullet point, and then maybe we don't do the introduction and the closing. I think that those will be much easier to do, and so we can double up on the sections. But we each would take a section, and in the document that Garrett created, we could start to bullet point, nothing structured, but just bullet point things that we need to highlight and touch on, and key points, and whatever. And so we would each do one of those, or maybe 2. And then next week that would be for this week. And then next week we could sort of touch base on where we are and then switch. And so I would work on 1 to 2 or whatever different sections than I had worked on the week prior to see if, maybe the one that Tyler worked on, maybe I'm like, oh, we should add this too, or maybe let's clarify a little bit more here or whatever. So maybe just tweaking what's there and then adding anything additional that maybe that person just didn't touch on with the people they spoke with, or whatever. So, and then using the next 2 weeks to write, like taking those bullet points and actually starting to formulate. And then that 5th week would be sort of tweaking, and we meet twice that week or one, whatever, however it works out. But we try to really get like a pretty honed in presentation, for lack of a better word. And then the week of, so hopefully here we'd have like a final product, and then we would have that gives us 1 week as like a buffer. So maybe writing is taking longer and we need an extra week or whatever, and then that final week would be the week prior, and then we could, we would hopefully at that point be done and have an opportunity to work more on presentation as well. And so again, this is like super high level, just was trying to like get a little structure around the next 8 weeks or so. Does that make sense? And again, I'm open to changing it or different suggestions. It was just something that I was like trying to wrap my head around a little bit.
I think it's good.
I like it. I think the question I have, just kind of thinking through how to kind of assign out the sections and such. I wonder if people, like, I think my first thought is there's certain aspects of this that I feel like I got some really good info and areas where I can kind of be more of a lead on one of the 3 sections. So I guess instead of just randomly kind of assigning them, do people just want to say like, hey, if I can, I feel like I got a good grasp on the existing conflicts or general public or the partner, I'm like, and somebody takes that as the lead, not necessarily meaning they're going to be the person presenting on it, but whatever. And then more, that'll give a little structure to it. And then the next round of folks can, kind of flesh out.
I'm totally game for that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because like we're going to know the most about our sections. So I think we probably need more time on those sections for each of us to build out.
Sure.
Then once it gets more to a complete section, then we can rotate through people looking at it.
So maybe these first 2 weeks are broken out differently, right? Maybe it's not sections or whatever. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's different, but because I totally hear what you guys are saying. I was just trying to think of a way to be sure that we were getting the most information from different people, right? So maybe it is that, each of us takes like the main section we think we have the most info on, and then the next time we actually will read through what everybody else has put through and like, tweak and update those sections, because I think that it will be helpful and beneficial to get feedback, even though you might not know as much about that section. I think that I don't know, everybody has a different way of viewing things, and so I do think that it's important to have feedback and input into those sections, even if again you feel like it's not like your core hasn't been your core focus. And so maybe these 2 to 3 weeks or whatever it are actually just broken out differently. So let's do this, and maybe this will be helpful. Let's lay out the sections as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that in front of me. Does anybody have those, like the way that we said we were going to break it out last week?
So it's going to be, we didn't pick an order yet, but it was going to be the partner engagement. I may be getting the titles wrong, but
we can, yeah.
Public engagement, and then existing conflicts.
And then didn't we say like in these there would be there would be secondary sections. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can go back and look, but like there was like broken out sections in between.
Yeah, I was just looking for my notes.
You guys, I'm gonna log back in a second. I've got to run an errand, so I'm gonna listen in.
Okay.
I'm at lunch right now, so.
All right. Yeah, Tyler, do you remember how we had that set up?
I know I took notes on this somewhere, but I freaking can't find it to save my life.
Yeah. We're all kind of looking through our.
Yeah.
We talked about potential conflicts, partners that are going to engage. We talked about intro. This is just off the top of my head because I can't remember it either. I think we were also talking about the types of marketing that we want them to do. You know, whether that's leave behinds or you know, if they want to go back to the original billboards or that sort of stuff.
So I think with them, hold on, let me formulate my thought here.
Well, I think the way that I was thinking about it, so just looking at the partner engagement, you know, they're just going to be like kind of those first, second, third tier universes, right? So we're going to have, you know, go after the business and the other nonprofits and the, you know, funders, or however we're going to break that down, right? And then your next group that you should go after are the academic institutions and the other things, or, you know, whatever else there is in that side of it. But
Okay, so within here, we've got businesses, nonprofits, funders over here. I'm just
I guess when I was thinking about partners, I was thinking more along the lines that the OIA uses for their different kind of market sectors, or whatever they call it, you know, where it'd be
their
like,
demographic.
yeah, their kind of demographic information for the public engagement. I think the partner engagement here on, I just put it, yeah, education up there. Yeah.
And then down here would be
The athleisurists or whatever they, you know, I can't remember what those terms were.
yeah. Okay. This would be like the Leave No Trace and other orgs. So something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay. So perhaps we all should take like the, you know, the group that we worked on within this list and do the bullets for that before we meet on Monday. And then maybe we all take one of these as well. And do some highlights within there, like bullet points. And that way we have like a good jumping point for next week. I mean, it seems like a decent amount of work in the next, I don't know, 5 days, but yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that that's pushing time for you all?
I think it's pushing time for me. it'd be good to get it started, but I think it's going to be evolving for sure as we gather more information, and it's a pretty busy time for me right now, but we can get started.
Yeah. So maybe I'll put a little more thought in this and make sure we have like each category under partner engagement and then public. I can go back and I'll find that demographic knowledge. I can put a link and stuff in here too. And then I'll send an email out so that Laura knows as well. And let's try to take our section, that partner engagement section, sections, and start to put some bullet points in. And I think we can use the presentation that Garrett started, or we can find another way to do it. Like maybe if we want to just make like an outline type of Google document, and that way that can be sort of our working doc, and everybody should have access to that. Maybe that's a better starting point. It's just like kind of a Word Google sheet that everybody can kind of just outline from, and then we can take from there.
I might be thinking about this incorrectly, so help me think through this. Are there any partner engagement categories? I think there were some that we kind of agreed were not worth pursuing for them at this time. Do we need to go through and really like flesh that out, or should we just skip those sections and save ourselves some work?
I think we should skip them, and but at the end of that partner section, we should say like, these are the next areas of focus.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm basically going to tell, my thing with the educational folks was not all that, I don't think that's their first piece, but I think we can, yeah.
I think for partner engagements, right, like I think this stewardship campaign really speaks more to people who have something to say, whereas like a business doesn't necessarily have anything specific to say other than buy our stuff. But they're not trying to necessarily get a message out there. Some are perhaps, and similarly, like educational institutions don't necessarily have like a banner that they're waving. But obviously, like nonprofits have a very clear perspective that they're trying to communicate.
So that's why I was thinking maybe they follow more in this public engagement portion. So while like a business is not like the public necessarily, right? Like an individual, but it's also a marketing platform for, to reach more people. So like think about like the Mountain Khaki store in Denver. Say there's some collateral, or there's a $1 of every proceed goes back to VOC for this, whatever it might be, kind of idea. That is more kind of what I was thinking as far as using those platforms of businesses and educational institutions and venues to be the jumping off point for public engagement.
That makes sense. And so it would be almost like I can see that. So maybe phase one of their work would be partner engagement. You need to get these nonprofits, these funders, whatever those groups are, engage. Step 2, public engagement. You need to be using these partners, business venues, education, etc.,
to reach these people,
reaching these demographics. And I think OIA is going to like us, using their demographics in this model. And I think it might be something new for, I don't know how much VLC works with it, but I think, for me, seeing those demographics was just interesting and a new way to kind of look at, the people that that we encounter in my regular day-to-day work.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, so this would look something, a little more like this. And then I can fill in some, making sure we have each area and whatnot in here.
So it may not even be partner engagement. We might want to change that because they're all going to be kind of partners on a certain level, right? Some of them will just be focused on the public, and some of them will be more like collaborators on the projects.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't want to worry too much about this language now.
Okay.
It's an important point, and I think we need to hash it out. But I think for the purposes of getting some work together for next week, we can consider this phrasing stuff in doing that. Cool.
Okay. So, let's just go through really quick. Maybe this would help. I think Garrett, you did the nonprofits, and so did you, Doug? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
No, Laura did
Laura.
some of the nonprofits that I saw.
When I talked to her, she said she didn't. She was on some other.
Was she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
I do not do nonprofits, so I know that much.
Okay. Okay.
I think it was just me so far.
Okay.
I think I spoke to a couple of nonprofits in doing the government side of things too, but the government's going to fall more in that public engagement sphere.
I did. Okay. And so is this right so far? Funders, it sounded like maybe last week nobody had talked to those specifically, but I feel like we got some information from those folks in the initial survey. I think that's pretty general though. Like we can, and I think we can also continue to have those conversations. Can look back and see.
Yeah.
I think this is a category that they haven't really considered specifically. I mean, they're obviously chasing people for money, so they have consideration for funders, but I know we were talking about using it more like leveraging sort of their reach to sort of perpetuate the campaign. And I don't know that that's an angle that they've considered. So I think that'll be worth exploring and talking about a little bit.
Sounds like maybe they could go either or. And then the venues is they kind of go together, to be honest.
Yeah. And then the media was the other one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. It's always funny watching people use Excel. It's like some people are all about quick keys, some people are all about
right I probably take the longest way to get there, but I get there eventually.
Yeah.
I'm happy to kind of pull the OIA demographics, and I don't know that I don't know that there's a lot to present there in a new or different way, but I'm happy to pull that information and put it into a coherent form for our project.
Yeah, I think that's okay, because this isn't, the audience may not be familiar with those.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to the point of, I didn't mean to stop sharing, to the point of, is VOC or is this committee using these or aware of them? So it to them may be new.
And to the point that we had sort of with the other things, right? Well, there are going to be certain personality demographics in that OIA list that are going to be immediately pertinent to VOC, and others that are going to be like, hey, look, down the road, this is where you need to go. But I think we can work that out too, based on what we see for partnerships as well.
Yep.
And so with this bit of homework, we're meeting next week still on the
Maybe Monday.
Okay. I'm going to be literally driving, doing some clinics and stuff that day. I can still make the meeting on my phone, but I'll make sure that all of my information is in the shared Google document, so you guys have something to reference, because I won't share my screen or anything.
Okay. So what I might do is take this and I'll clean it up a little bit and I'll drop it into a Google Doc and I'll share it with you guys, and then maybe we use this. So this will be like the master kind of page or whatever, and then maybe we just make another tab here within that is where I can put it in a sheet as well if we think that's easier, and that way, yeah, we can just use that as a working document.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I was gonna say a sheet's gonna be easier for me to not,
Sure.
try to get all this down in an Excel document. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then once I get that together, I'll send it out. That way Laura's got an idea of sort of the expectation. And so each person is going to take their area, over here, put some thought around it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then,
can just take a stab at funders just because I work with them all the time for my job. So I can, even if I can't really get a hold of somebody, I can put something down on paper about how they generally operate. And a few of those are pretty known entities, like I said before, that I've interacted with.
That's kind of how I'm with the businesses and venues. That's kind of my world. And so, yeah.
Garrett, if you wanted to make a few notes based off of your conversation that you had about sort of funders as partners, in terms of getting, broadening the reach of the program, I think that would be helpful too.
You want me to make some notes on that?
Yeah, it was kind of your revelation. So yeah, I think that'd be good.
Okay. Yeah, if you get it started, Doug, I can definitely get
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Waffle is productive.
Yeah. All right. One other thing, I did get a message back from Carrie on our little update thing. Not super, not very really helpful, but just basically said, happy to join one of your meetings. And then Mondays usually work well for me. Forward me a calendar invite and I'll try to attend whichever one we want. So that was it. There wasn't anything like, oh, sounds good. You guys look like you're getting a hold of this project, or you should probably be buckling down more. I was a little bit honestly disappointed in how that played out. But do we want to invite Carrie to this next coming Monday? I would imagine it would be a little bit more of an updating her on where we're at.
Do you guys think it's necessary?
I would say if we are, then I would say actually like the 11th or the 18th when we've got a little more like structure.
Yeah.
Probably be better.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, like, no offense, and I'll just say this, like, we're not going to change direction at this point, right? Like, so,
I mean, I wouldn't be looking for that. I think in my mind, it's just whoever's drawing on this hilarious. That I would just be throwing out, just like her sitting in and like just kind of listening in at some point.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I just kind of threw it out there and didn't even really think too much about what it actually mean if she said yes.
Yeah.
When I put it in there. So.
Sure.
Yeah. To me, I think she probably just wants to see how our group is interacting, how we're proceeding. I think she just wants to get an insight into the process. I don't think she's gonna.
Right. That's what I would hope. If she came out and told us to start doing things differently, I think we'd have to have a big conversation with her about it, and we're not.
Right.
But yeah, if it's more like Tyler says, which I would hope, then I don't. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's at least wait. I'll just wait, and I'll just write back and say maybe on the 11th.
Yeah.
We'll have
and then we
can good progress under our belt, and we can give her a little bit of an update more.
Let's make sure we're really argumentative and fighting and stuff during the call, though. Just like usual.
No, Garrett, we're not going to do that. Damn it.
I am not going to leave the group. I am going to show up on time to all the meetings.
Tyler, that smiley face sticking out the tongue, that's for you, just for that comment.
Yeah. That was brilliant.
Good stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool, guys.
All right, guys.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.